friends? Welcome to episode 5 of Still Here, Still Trying. I'm Mike Baker, and the title of this episode is Let's Talk About Hope. Thank you for giving me a little of your time today. I hope that you continue to find value in this podcast. It's probably the best example of still here, still trying, because I am so far out of my comfort zone doing this. I know that there is so much out there competing for our attention, and the fact that you keep showing up here in this space really, really means something to me. So thank you. I want this podcast to be a small corner of the world where we can pause long enough to ask better questions, where we can reflect a little deeper and remind ourselves about why trying still matters. What I hope you find in this space is something steady, just a moment to breathe, a reminder of why we keep showing up for our people, for our families, for our work, and for ourselves. Because life gets heavy. The pace, the noise, the demands, it it can wear us down without us even realizing that it's happening. These conversations exist to help us slow down, to get quiet enough to ask, what am I carrying? Who am I becoming? And how am I showing up in a world that keeps pulling people apart? So if this podcast brings you some clarity, some encouragement, or simply reminds you that you're not alone, will you please share it with somebody? Send it to someone who might need the same thing. That's how we keep this work going, through connection, not algorithms. So today I want to spend some time talking about hope, not the watered down version people put on coffee mugs or in marketing campaigns, but real hope, the kind that we fight to hold on to, the kind that demands something from us, the kind that lives a lot quieter than the world wants to admit. Hope doesn't arrive in big, sweeping moments. It doesn't feel bright or confident. Sometimes it shows up small. Sometimes it barely shows up at all. And we have to fight to keep the door open long enough to let it in. Right now, honestly, it feels harder to hold hope right now. Division is loud, suspicion is loud, fear is loud. People seem quicker to shout and slower to listen. Every day feels like a crack in the foundation. The temptation to shut down, to retreat into anger or apathy gets stronger. And some days it feels like the only choices are to fight or to disappear. But I promise you that there is another path. It's a quieter path. It's a slower path, but it's a path that asks more of us, but it gives something back that anger and fear never will. And it leaves behind something so much better. Hope works beneath the surface. It doesn't need headlines or applause. It grows through the choices that we make. It grows through the conversations that we keep having. It grows when we connect with the people that we refuse to give up on. Hope is not a grand gesture, it's a daily practice. So the noise around us right now, it's relentless. Social media, the news cycle, politics, everything seems designed to pull people apart. We see outrage and how it travels fast. We see suspicion that catches fire. We see anger that convinces people they're right, even as it leaves them emptier. This kind of division wears people down. You can see it in families, in workplaces, in communities. People are tired. And when people are tired, it's easy to see others as the problem. It's easy to stop believing that connection is possible. Cynicism asks, asks less of us in the moment. Cynicism feels smart. It feels safe. It lets us keep people at a distance, but it empties us in ways that we don't notice until the damage is already done. Hope calls for more. Hope asks us to stay soft in a world that rewards sharp edges. It asks us to keep showing up, to keep believing there's good in people, even when disappointment makes us want to pull away. Not because it's easy, and not because it feels heroic, but because it's the right thing to do. Hope doesn't require us to ignore reality. It asks us to keep looking for possibility inside it. It makes room for something better, even when the evidence feels thin. So, writing the optimist way, it wasn't about having all the answers. It came from a place of wrestling with the questions, from leadership seasons that stretched me thin, from personal seasons that cracked my heart wide open, from watching people I care about carry burdens quietly, fighting battles that no one else could see. Hope became something I had to build. Waiting around to feel hopeful wasn't working. I learned to practice it in small ways, speaking gently to myself, giving people grace when they were struggling, and choosing to stay present when retreat felt easier. The reflections in the book didn't come from moments of clarity. They came from moments of exhaustion, where just getting through the day felt like an achievement. They came from conversations where people admitted they were tired, but they were still trying. They came from realizing that hope doesn't show up as a feeling, it shows up as a choice. Hope grows slowly. It grows through kindness. It grows through connection. And it grows through the small moments where we remind each other that we're not alone. Hope shows up in places that don't make headlines. It shows up at work, in people who show up every day to serve, to help, to meet others where they are, not for recognition, not for applause, because they believe that people matter. I see it in quiet kindness that's exchanged between staff and patients, in the patience that it takes to walk someone through a hard moment without rushing. It shows up on the ice. Young women pushing themselves, learning resilience through teamwork, through falling down and getting back up, through bringing heart and humor to every practice. We talked about Ailey and Sam in the last episode, and watching them grow is a reminder of what's possible when people keep showing up for each other. They are learning lessons that will serve them well far beyond the rate. Hope lives in friendships that survive hard conversations, in marriages that hold on to humor when life feels too serious, in communities that keep gathering, keep supporting, keep believing that people are worth the effort. Hope doesn't announce itself, it doesn't chase attention, it builds quietly, steady, through actions more than words. I've seen it in clinic spaces where love sits quietly beside fear, in classrooms where teachers keep showing up for kids who need more than curriculum, and people that are rebuilding after loss, not because they feel strong, but because starting again feels better than giving up. Every single day brings us a choice. We can either feed fear or we can feed something better. We can either let anger shape us or we can stay rooted in compassion. We can harden up or we can stay human. Loud voices might dominate the spotlight, but volume never builds anything that lasts. What lasts is always built slowly. It's built through patience. It's built through kindness. It's built through choosing to see people as more than headlines or categories. Hate burns fast, but it leaves nothing behind worth keeping. Hope builds, hope plants, it waters, it waits, it trusts small acts to matter over time. The world has enough people adding fuel to the vision. What it needs is more people that are willing to believe in each other, people willing to stay kind, people that are willing to reach out instead of pull away. Hope has this power to rebuild where anger tears down. Hope creates space where suspicion shuts doors. Hope reminds us that we need to catch each other more than we need to be. Let's pause. Okay, here's the edit. We're going to start that paragraph over. Hope rebuilds where anger tears down. Hope creates space where suspicion shuts doors. Hope reminds us that we need each other more than we need to be right. The conversations in this podcast are they're not created to solve everything. They're here to remind us of what matters, to remind us that we aren't alone in how we feel. I created them to remind us that trying is the thing that counts. Some days hope feels harder to hold. I have those days too. Music helps, my family helps. Sometimes it's smaller things. It's a kind word, it's a shared laugh, it's a stranger's patience. Sometimes it's watching someone choose kindness when frustration would have been easier. Hope isn't something that we stumble into. It's something that we have to create space for in our words, in our choices, and how we treat people standing right in front of us. This podcast keeps going because I believe that matters. I believe that connection matters. I believe that kindness matters. I believe that compassion isn't outdated. I believe that it's the foundation for a life we don't have to apologize for living. So if you're carrying something heavy right now, I want you to know this. I want you to know that your effort matters. Your presence matters. The small, steady ways that you keep showing up for your family, for your community, for your friends, for yourself, they are building something, even if you can't see it yet. Hope doesn't erase hardship, but it reminds us to keep going, to keep believing there's more ahead, to keep choosing connection over fear. If this conversation speaks to you, will you please share it? Will you please pass it on? Because that's how we keep building something worth sharing. For those of you that are looking for a little bit more, The Optimist Way is available on Amazon. The link is in the show notes. My music, which is connected to this work, is also out there too. You can find it wherever you stream. I know that life can be difficult. I know that things can be challenging, but I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for choosing hope. And I want to thank you for choosing to stay human because I know that I'm still here trying. Oh, okay. Start, do that again. Edit, edit, edit. All right. Thanks for listening. Thank you for choosing hope. And thank you for staying human. I'm still here and I'm still trying. And I know that you're still here and you're still trying. So I'll see you next time.